Hey guys, welcome back. Todd Huey here with Lone Star Boars. It's going to be, this is part 3 of how to hunt hogs. We're going to talk about bullets and ammunition, what I think is best to get the job done. I'd like to thank Freedom Munitions. You'll see a link to them in the description. They're the official ammo supplier of Lone Star Boars. They have their own ammo line, which is the Boar Buster that they recommend for hog hunting, but they also sell all major brands. So follow the link, use the discount code Lone Star Boars, and you get a fairly big discount there when you purchase ammo. Now, I'm going to explain why I recommend what I do and what I go through before I recommend something. I see all the time here lately, new hunters, old hunters alike, asking which bullet ammunition performs best on hogs in all different kind of calibers. So, how I personally judge how a bullet performs, I shoot at least 100 hogs with it. I want it to perform, what I do is eradication, pest control. It's not traditional hunting. We can all agree shot placement is king. A pellet gun or a 22 long rifle subsonic 40 grain bullet, I've done it. I've killed it with both of those things. Ear hole shots, 50, 60 yards, 99% of the time the hog's going to drop. But our full metal jacket, supersonic, whatever. If you hit in just the perfect spot, yeah, that hog's going to drop 99.9% of the time. But if they move, if you flinch, something goes wrong, you have a problem. You're either going to be having a pissed off hog coming at you, or you're going to be at the very least tracking a hog, maybe never finding it and losing your game. So when I hunt hogs, my very first shot is usually a well-placed shot. After that, all bets are off. They're running in all different directions. Sometimes they're coming at me, sometimes they're running away, angle, sometimes they're broadside. Once they start moving, I'm not aiming for the head. I'm not aiming for any, I'm aiming for just to hit mass. The bullets that I'm about to advise you about, except for the subsonic stuff, 90 or a high percentage of the time when I hit the hog, it disables them or kills them in one shot. There's always extreme examples. You've seen them in my videos where hogs are taking 10, 15 shoulder shots from a 308. It's going to happen. Some of them just don't want to die. They're tough animals. It would have killed every other hog you shot, and they would have dropped dead with the first shot. Sometimes that happens. But most of the time, these bullets are going to disable and knock over the hog. I'm not going to go in any specific order, really, except that I'm going to start with the HORNDAY SST because I've been using it the longest and I've killed thousands of hogs with it. So we'll start with the HORNDAY SST, and we're going from anything from 300 blackout up, 7.62 by 39, 6.5 Grendel, 6.8, 6.5 Creedmoor, 308, 30, whatever. You can find the SST in a wide variety of calibers, but we're not even talking about calibers right now. We're talking about the bullet. The bullet expands rapidly, but it has an interlock ring that holds everything together. So you have that rapid expansion that transfers the energy to the animal, but then it pushes through, and you usually get, at least with 300 blackout, 6.8, 308, those larger calibers, or medium to larger calibers, you get complete penetration. For example, this one right here, and we'll do a close-up on it, is from a 6.8. This one is from a 300 blackout. Both are from different pretty large bores. Both were shot at 50 to 60 yards in the shoulder, got complete penetration. Both hogs dropped right there. Both of these were found hanging in the fur on the opposite side. Very good penetration. The bullets held together with the interlock ring. So that is what I found is typical with a SST. If you get up closer, you know, we're talking about feet instead of yards, sometimes you will have the bullet break apart because of the velocity you're hitting them with. But in typical hunting ranges, 30 yards on out, for me, I've seen them hold together very well. We'll just start with this one in the center, Freedom Munitions Boar Buster. I've been using this a whole lot lately. They have it in 308, 6.8, and 5.56. I've been mostly using it in 308. It has a 160 grain AccuBond in it. That is a traditional lead core bullet, but it is bonded so it holds together. I've experienced rapid expansion, good penetration. In fact, I don't even have any recovered bullets from this because I'm getting penetration, complete penetration, all the way out to 400 yards on some of these hogs. I've killed somewhere around 350 to 400 hogs with this bullet now with very, very good success. Next up, we'll talk about the Winchester Razor Bore XT. It is an all copper bullet, a monolithic bullet. It expands very well, expands very reliably, and usually the same shape. It has what they call petals, I call blades. They come out and transfers a lot of energy to the animal. This is another premium all copper bullet that works very well. Next up is the Barnes bullets. These happen to be 130 grain 308 rounds that I use in my 12-inch 308 because I want to get the extra velocity at them. But I've also shot them in my 16-inch and my 20-inch. They shoot very fast and very flat, but they make them in 150 grain, 100, and I think it's 68, maybe 65 in the 308. They make it in all calibers. The Barnes have been exceptionally good, especially the 110 grain black tip and 300 blackout. I will have to say it is probably my all-time favorite 300 blackout bullet at this point. The problem is they're unattainium here. I may find a box or two here, box or two there, but I can't get them on a reliable basis. So what I've started using instead is the Hornady GMX. It's also an all copper bullet. This is my new favorite in 300 blackout. It has excellent performance, just like the Barnes, except it's readily available, at least in my area. Freedom Munitions always has it in stock. I've pretty much switched over to them. The only caliber that I would recommend you skipping on the Barnes is the 6.8. I've had not so great performance in the 6.8. The 95 grain, the 85 grain, and the 110 grain. For me, if you're not hitting bone or muscle, if you hit something on the run in the gut, it just zips through and the hogs run off and die somewhere else. I want to recover my hogs. Every other caliber, great performance. I don't know what happened with the 6.8, but that's been my experience with them. Next up, we're going to talk about cavity back bullets. They are another all copper bullet. They make it for the 6.8, 300 blackout, 6.5 Grendel, and I 308 that I know of. Oh, and 7.62 by 39 is one of the best 7.62 by 39 bullets I've ever used. I've had almost 100% success rate with it. But what the cavity back does is, if you don't know, copper weighs less than lead. So if you have a 100 grain copper bullet and a 100 grain lead bullet, the copper bullet is going to be longer. What that usually means is you can't get as much powder behind it if you're a manufacturer or a reloader, and so you don't get as much velocity with the same weight bullet. They've put a cavity in the back of the bullet which allows you to get that same powder charge. So now with your premium copper bullet, you still get the same velocity with the same grain bullet, and you get awesome performance. These open up to a very, very low speed. I don't remember exactly what it is. It's different ones for different calibers, but it also extends that effective range for each caliber out a lot farther because they open up reliably to a lower velocity than some other bullets. Next up on my list, and my list is getting long here, but is the Maker's T-Rex. It's another all copper bullet. It doesn't have the cavity back. This one, they have boat tail and then flat base. These are flat base. This is actually one from a 300 blackout that was recovered. Coleon Noir shot this one at a hog at 60 yards, and we found it hung up in the hide on the other side. It was on the run, and he knocked it down. Very good performance. I've used these for a while in 6.8, 300 blackout, and 308, but I think he makes every caliber. I think he makes loaded ammo and definitely makes the bullets for reloading. In the 7.62 by 39, Winchester makes a hog special. I got a kill with it at 400 and I forget how many yards it was, 416 yards I think. Excellent performance out of those in the 7.62 by 39. So if you're shooting that, the best ones I've found, well, the cavity backs just dominated, but the Winchester Hog Special, the Hornady SST again, those are awesome rounds if you're using a 7.62 by 39 and you want to use some premium ammo. I know it's hard to get away from that $6 box Russian soft point stuff, but trust me, the results when you hit and you're going on a hunt and it needs to count is tremendous. Now we'll talk about 5.56. I don't ever hardly use 5.56. I need to start doing it because people have asked, but I consider it a little bit light for hogs, especially if you get up on a big one. If you're shooting 5.56 and you have a 20-inch barrel or longer, then you're getting the velocity it was designed for. A 55 grain bullet will work good, somewhere 55 grain to 62 grain. All copper or bonded bullets, so you get that penetration. You don't want that bullet breaking up. You want that bullet to expand, and you want it to penetrate as deep as possible into these big hogs and do as much damage. With a longer barrel, 20 inches plus, you're going to get the velocity and get a lot of hydrostatic shock, and it's going to perform better. Most people these days are running 16-inch barrels or even shorter on their 5.56. If you're doing that, I recommend that you use the heaviest bullet that your barrel will stabilize and an all copper or bonded bullet to get penetration and get in there to the vitals of the hog. So that's my recommendation for 5.56. And that may be Barnes, it may be Makers, but as long as it's bonded. Now we're going to spend a very, very short time on subsonics. I don't do much subsonic hunting. The reason I've done subsonics is because it's a craze right now. Somehow everybody wants to be a super secret ninja or something out there and think that the hogs are not going to run away when you shoot at them. They're going to run away because the impact of the bullet, if you're shooting at multiple hogs, the impact on the first one is going to be so loud, it's going to sound like a gunshot down there, and they're going to run away anyways. But if you do shoot subsonic, use something like, this is a 308, 185 grain, the PowerPoint Subsonic from Winchester. They are designed to expand at subsonic velocity, and they work wonderfully. Here I have the ENGEL Ballistics Research. They do supersonic and subsonic ammo. I haven't got to test their supersonic stuff yet, but the subsonic stuff expands and performs very well. DISCREET Ballistics does subsonic expanding bullets. And then one of my all-time favorites that I've been using for longer than any of them, the Makers bullets. They offer a full line of subsonic, even a 500 grain subsonic bullet that expands for the 458 SOCOM, which is really awesome. Don't use, if you're going to, AMAXs, 200 grain AMAXs, your 300 blackout are great for targets, but when you're shooting an animal with it, you might as well go up and stick them with a pencil, because all you're doing is poking a 30 caliber hole through it. There's no hydrostatic shock, nothing else. The best thing that could happen is it hits something and it starts tumbling. You start tumbling, you may do some damage. But anything that is designed for supersonic, even if it's a hollow point and you're loading into subsonic speeds, for the most part, it's not going to expand. It has to be a specially designed bullet. If you took one of these bullets out and loaded it up to supersonic speeds that I was talking about, the expanding bullets, they actually would break off the petals and become just a single slug. But at least at supersonic speeds, you have hydrostatic shock. But they design these bullets for certain velocities, and the ones for subsonic speed that expand won't work that well in supersonic. Vice versa, the supersonic bullets, the bullets that are designed for supersonic speeds do not expand at subsonic velocity, so you just punch a hole. I hope this video was helpful for somebody. There are bullets that I have not used. There's bullets that I don't like. I didn't list them. If you want to ask me about which ones I absolutely don't recommend, I'm not going to say it publicly, but if you ask me in an email or contact me by PM on one of the forums, whatever, I will gladly share that information with you. Again, these are just my opinions, but I've shot thousands and thousands of hogs. Each one of these that I've used, except for the subsonic stuff and the 5.56 stuff, I've killed over 100 hogs, most of them well over 100 hogs, several hundred hogs or thousands of hogs with some of these bullets. Thank you for watching. Please comment below, ask any more questions that you have, and if you have not, please subscribe to our channel. And also, they've demonetized me, they've ghost blocked me, all these things. It helps if you share these videos on your social media stuff or on your forums that you frequent or with your friends, because a lot of these people will never see this channel now because it does not show up on people's feeds. So if you share it, it will really help us out and help spread this word. Thank you for watching.